still pick up?
I thought you heard stop football.
No, only on Saturday. I'm a Tuesday guy. This is a new day for me.
All right, questions for Eric?
Speaking of new day, what was it like practicing on Sunday yesterday with everybody?
Very different. You know, at first I kind of thought that playing a game the day before that a lot of guys would be tired, maybe a little bit lazy out there, but you know, guys were high energy, flying around. It was very exciting to see such a young team respond to having practice the very next day. Guys really took care of their bodies where, you know, right after the game, people were in the cold tub, stretching, you know, getting the massages on Sunday, and just really taking care of their bodies so they were ready to go. I was very impressed with that.
Film study, how was that? And watching the review of the App State game.
Right. Initial thoughts, you know, coming off the field, I was pretty disappointed in how I thought that we played. You know, as offensive line, we have such high standards this year, I feel like. And it felt like we left a lot out there. But going back through in the film and, you know, seeing the whole story and seeing how it was not all our fault, or it wasn't all, you know, anybody's fault necessarily, just the way that, you know, they ran their defense and we just happened to run plays right into them. You know, so I wasn't as disappointed as I thought I would be, but definitely a lot to improve on from our standpoint.
To that point when you saw the Wayne Gallman touchdown run, his physicality at the end of the run.
Yeah, loved it. Golly. You know, they were a pretty talkative team, App State. They were getting after it, and to just have one of our running backs just lay the wood to one of their guys was just, it was great to see.
Did you realize that that same player was the guy that had just previously taken
Yeah,
Deshaun
so
and
there
face
was
mask?
a little bit of extra. I think, you know, we got a little talkative too when that happened. So it was good to see that he got a little bit back for him.
Were there any individual grades that were lower this week compared to last week?
You know, all of us were pretty lower than last week. To a percentage point, I couldn't tell you how much overall, but there was definitely, like I said, a lot of improvement that needs to be made. You know, the kind of communication errors that we had were similar to a first game, and we really didn't have that against Wofford. So I think that was our hiccup for the you know, the season, to where that was probably one of the worst communications that we've had throughout camp. But we still scored, you know, 42 points. But you know, things that are easily corrected, and we're going to take care of it.
Why do you think the communication was all?
You know, with guys bringing such pressure like App State did, you know, it's very hard to emulate in practice. You know, something that we could not do unless we were going full speed against our defense all the time. So until you actually have that happen to you in a game, I think it just took us a little bit while to pick it up to make the corrections that we needed to.
So if I'm a defensive coordinator looking at that film, I'm seeing some vulnerability.
Well, I hope that's what they think, because we're going to pick it up and do much better than we did.
Is there a way to maybe explain more than just the communication about what was going on?
Just like I said, it's a hard thing to practice, but once you get used to something like that, moving on a swivel, getting your head around different eyes, you're going to take care of business.
What are you expecting going on the road to face a team that hasn't won a football game yet?
Right.
They still have the chance to win their first BCC.
You know, they're a great team. Personally, I think they should be 2-0. You know, overlooking Houston maybe a little bit, focusing on us, but you know, they're a great defensive team, and when you're trapped in a corner, you know, people are either going to stand up and fight harder, or they're just going to lay down. So I think a team that's so well coached is going to really step it up.
What do you see out of their defense this year? Obviously, they gave you guys a battle here last year on defense, and they lost a lot of players off that defensive team. What do you see out of them this year?
A lot of similarities. They're going to bring pressure. They got a lot of two-gap players up front. Great NFL talent, what I see on film. And it's just going to be one of those headache games where they're bringing people all from different angles and trying to get those weak points, and we're going to do our best to exploit that.
Eric, do you worry that anybody on this team is going to say, you know, Louisville's 0-2, and we should be able to take care of this pretty easy?
Like I said, no, I think that we respect them very much. You know, their defense, they're well coached. Obviously, having new guys on offense that they're going to, you know, be trying to make a name for themselves. And I don't think this team is like that this year. You know, playing App State and Wofford in our first two games where they got our full focus and no one was talking about Louisville until now, I think that we've proven that we're not going to overlook anybody.
You ever played 2 games in 6 days?
No, this will be my first time. I think usually we have a bye before our Thursday night game, because I think that was the first time we've ever practiced on a Sunday as well. So it's going to be different. But like I said, people's bodies seem to feel great. We were out there with great enthusiasm yesterday, flying around, so it's going to be different.
Is there a little bit of an advantage that maybe it's the starters, the ones that didn't have to play the full game, either of the first 2 games?
Definitely,
You got a 5-day turnaround.
I think at any time when you can rest your guys and, you know, keep their legs, I think you're going to have a great advantage at that point.
Talk about playing against that 3-4 scheme they're going to run. A little different linebackers, like you said earlier,
Right.
coming at different angles and coming from
Right.
different places, the blitz pickups.
Right. Well, we've had the great advantage of going against 2 of those in the first 2 weeks, so it's been great preparation for this moment. Louisville actually does a lot more 4 down than people realize. In their short yardage, they really like to be 4 down to where they can do different things with their defensive line, different stunts, different movements. So it's going to be a challenge for us.
No, you guys treat every game the same, but what are some of the unique challenges playing on the road on a Thursday night?
You know, it's going to be our first road game. Such a young group, 39 freshmen in this group, and it's going to be our first night game, which is something different. Guys aren't just going to be waking up and playing. We're going to have to go through a full day of more preparation, which is good for us to where we can mentally get sharp, but you can't overdo it. We can't be looking at film all day, and we have to be ready to play at 7:30, not 12:30 this week. So it's going to be a challenge for us.
Florida State went in there ranked last year and fell into a 21-0 hole.
Right.
Is there anything you can take from that?
I don't know if it was them overlooking it or if the stage was too big for Florida State at that time. But we just got to take it one game at a time, focus on Louisville, and I think our guys are up for the challenge.
When you have that short turnaround, is it tougher physically or mentally to get prepared for the game quicker?
Well, we had the great opportunity to study Louisville a little bit this summer. We had such a long camp that we really took time to prepare for them mentally. So I think the biggest turnaround is just going to be, that quick physical change to where, we don't have as many days to rest up and get ready. But like I said, guys have done a great job of preparing themselves, taking care of their bodies. So I think everybody's going to be ready.
Coach Sweeney said the other night the thing that bottom line was that this team needed to continue to develop its depth. Was that an issue the other night? You didn't have enough freshness coming in, and guys are being affected.
I think that it's great that we had 2 games to where we were able to get people in. Obviously, as a coach, you always want to be able to develop your young talent. And I think just in practice, we're just going to have to keep developing those guys, keep pushing them, whether it's in the film room, the weight room, whatever they need to do. Some guys might have been forced to play just because we have lack of depth at certain positions. And, they're doing a great job, though. The coaches are pushing them where they need to push them and, laying off when they need to.
What do you see out of Rankins, 98?
He's a dominant player, probably their best defensive player. Great with his hands, very smart athlete. But like I said, we're just up for the challenge. They do a lot of 2-gapping, so when we double team them, we're going to have to make sure we get a lot of movement.
What do you tell guys like Mitch and Jake going into this environment, their first time under the lights in a hostile environment?
Right. You just got to tell them to stay calm, cool, and collect. Those guys are going to be jacked up to play. Like I said, their first night game in a great environment like Louisville. Their vans are going to be bringing it. They traveled very well to Clemson last year, so we can only imagine the excitement and enthusiasm that they're going to have. But, our goal as offense is to make sure that stadium's very quiet by the end of the game.
Traditional football thinking says you run behind the right side of the line, pass protectors are on the left.
Right.
Wayne Gallman said he's more comfortable running behind you and Mitch. How does that make you feel to know you guys are trusted with both of those facets?
Right. It makes you feel good as an offensive lineman when, running backs want to run behind you. I think that, Wayne just kind of favors that side. I don't know if he likes running better that way, if he can't see out of his right eye is good. But, Wayne does a great job wherever he's running, and, he makes us look very good.
3 sacks allowed. Is that something that's correctable or
The first one that I can remember was me and Jay kind of messed up on a communication-wise, so that's very easy to correct. The second one was on a designed run to where I don't remember if a wide receiver had a brain slip to where he forgot a different route. I can't remember, did he run out of bounds or something short, the third one? All things that, like you said, could be very well corrected and easy things where we just got to communicate a little bit better and not think too much. I think we overthought a lot of different things to where, maybe in that environment where you see a different linebacker coming up, they feel like they have to make this call to where, maybe they shouldn't have or something like that. So it's all things that can be fixed.
What was the thought when you learned you were coach's role number 9 this week? Broke through that top 10 barrier.
Right, very exciting. It's good to see Clemson getting the respect that maybe we think that we deserve. Throughout the years, our coach has done a great job of not worrying about the polls, but when you see that single digits, it's always something to get excited about.
All good?
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.